Hello and welcome to Candidates Up Front, a public interest election program of Berks Community Television and the League of Women Voters of Berks County. I'm Bill Litvin, a member of the League. Our November 8th general election is coming up. We will vote for state and federal officials. The deadline to register is October 24th. The League is interviewing candidates who have agreed to be interviewed in contested races. For each race, the candidate will get the same basic questions and will have the same amount of time to answer them. Two candidates are competing in the 127th Pennsylvania House District, Democrat Manny Guzman and Republican Vince Gagliardo Jr. Sorry about that, Vince.
You got it. You got it right, though.
Oh, I know how to pronounce it. I just stumbled for some reason. The district includes parts of the city of Reading, Ken Horst, Shillington, and parts of Cumru Township. State representatives serve a 2-year term in the state legislature in Harrisburg. They initiate legislation and vote to create laws. They pass the budget, including taxes and expenditures of the state. They help constituents with issues regarding state government. The salary for a state representative is $90,335 per year, plus benefits and expenses. Please note that the opinions expressed in this interview are those of the candidate and are not the opinions of the League of Women Voters or of Berks Community Television. This interview is with Vince Gagliardo Jr. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Mr. Gagliardo, please tell our viewers about yourself and why you are running.
Hello. I'm Vince Gagliardo. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for giving me this opportunity for the public to get to know me a little better. I'm running for this position because the 127th District needs someone who can balance the needs of the communities in Reading, Kenhurst, Shillington, and Cumru. I'm that person. I grew up in Kenhurst. I graduated Governor Mifflin in '79. I moved into Reading afterwards to help my family. We had a business in the city of Reading for 45 years. And for the past 20 years, I moved back over to Kenhurst. I know the entire district. As a councilman with Kenhurst Borough, we have lacked the representation that is needed from our state government, our state representative, to help us keep our community's taxes down with different projects and funding that would be available to us from the state. But we're getting that lack of that. To help keep our community taxes down, the same will happen in the new districts that were added. And I just can't sit by and let this happen any longer. I'm a fair and experience with the entire district. There are so many projects that have been completed under my watch, and there could be so many more by voting for Vince Gagliardo for state legislature.
You are a Republican. What draws you to your party?
Well, back when I was a Reading City Councilman, I was a Democrat. That was 20 years ago. The party itself seemed to go extremely to the left. Their points of views are way wrong than what I believe in, and the Republicans are a little more in line with my views. I would say I'm more of a Republican than I am a Democrat. So that's why I'm running as a Republican now. I was an elected Democrat in the city. I'm an elected Republican in the Kenhurst community. I've done great things on both sides, and I'm easy to get along with both sides. I can talk to either party. So I'm a fair guy.
Are there things about your party that you're not comfortable with?
Some. I'm not going to share what views they are, but there are some issues that I think the Republicans go maybe a little too extreme on. Not too many, though. I'm pretty much in line with most of them.
In the General Assembly, your party will want you to vote the party line. People who voted for you want you to vote their view. People who didn't vote for you still expect you to represent their views, and then you have your own ideas. How will you balance these expectations? Tell us your thinking process.
Well, you've got to take each issue as it comes before you. So depending on what that issue is, you have to decide what is best for your community, what is best for your state, because you're elected by your community. Okay, but you're making decisions for the entire state of Pennsylvania. What we need to do is look what's best for the whole picture, including your district, including the state of Pennsylvania. We need to help businesses come here. We need to entice them to grow. We need to help people with their everyday lives, with getting services that the government provides. Here's a little pet peeve for you. I cannot stand the DMV. Oh, gosh. We need to do something more and either expand them or make more of them.
On the first day of the legislative session, you will be asked to approve the rules of conducting business. These rules allow committee chairs, who represent only 17% of Pennsylvanians, to block legislation even if a majority of legislators support it. Should these rules stay as they are, or should they be changed?
Well, here's a little thing for you. I've never heard of that, but now that I do, and I've always had that in the back of my head where, well, why is it so hard to get a bill before everybody to vote? Because every bill deserves a chance to be voted on by the entire legislature. If that's going to come up and you say it will, I'm voting no on it, because I want if I worked hard to put a bill together, I want it to go forward. I don't want it to sit there and stale out and go nowhere. People need to know what all the legislators are doing for them, and if you would vote yes on this, most of the time you don't even know what's going on. Bring it all forward.
Lately, to get around the governor's veto pen, the legislature has written constitutional amendments to be voted on in primary elections, which have low turnout. In the long run, do you feel it is appropriate to enshrine in our state constitution things that are normally handled legislatively?
No, I don't think. I think the legislature, if we would go with the yes vote with the previous question and we're going to have everything coming before us, I think we would be okay with what we're having now with that question.
Everyone I know is pro-life, but it means different things to different people. Ending gun violence is pro-life. Preventing climate change, protecting endangered species, being against abortion, being in favor of choice on abortion, universal health care, ending the death penalty, all pro-life. On which of these issues or other issues do you consider yourself pro-life?
Well, I believe in a heartbeat bill. I believe in pro-life, but I believe, as far as abortion goes, a heartbeat bill. Once you have another human life, you're talking about a human life. You're not talking about something that's in the womb. You're talking about a human life. As far as a death penalty, you're a criminal. You've committed a serious enough crime that you've been sentenced to death, and we need to follow through with that.
Okay.
You said something about guns, right?
Yeah.
As far as guns, our Second Amendment right says we have the right to bear arms. And not only just to protect us ourselves and our homes, but protect us from a government that is doing what our wish is not, if that makes sense.
Okay. I think I understand. Pregnancy is not benign. In the United States, for every 100,000 pregnant women, 23.8 die during or soon after pregnancy. This is much, much higher than other developed nations. It especially hits minority and rural women. Does Pennsylvania have a responsibility to provide more support to pregnant women to prevent these deaths?
I think that Pennsylvania should help women with pregnancy issues, take the money away from all of these clinics that are pro-abortion, and move it over towards helping people that are pregnant and helping with their costs and helping with more research to help that pregnancy is healthy and kept going well.
Would you favor Family Leave Act, allowing women and men to take time off?
Well, now see, there's a tough situation. A man can't get pregnant, no matter how you look at it. So,
Then how about the woman?
a woman can. So time off for that, I believe that's happening now. I mean, businesses that don't really give a woman time off for pregnancies, they're not really a good business, because it's just what you have to do as part of life, and what that is right. It's only right to do that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've owned a business, and if that issue would come up, I'm fine with letting someone have off, and probably giving them partial pay out of it.
Okay. The Pennsylvania legislature recently voted to spend $20 million to help religious institutions and schools add security to their buildings. The money is much appreciated. But with every invention of another weapon, we need to up the security again. Gun violence costs the United States $557 billion annually. For perspective, that's more than 10 times Pennsylvania's annual budget. It's police, ambulances, hospital emergency rooms, and ongoing care for the wounded. These costs add to inflation. What can the legislature do to reduce gun violence and reduce the cost to taxpayers and to the companies that provide health insurance to their employees?
Well, I think it started with, under the administration we have now under the federal government, they put on 87,000 IRS agents and are going to monitor our checking systems now for everybody in the United States. Why didn't we take that money and fund our schools for securities and do more to help protect the children instead of the government coming after what you already have? They're trying to take away everything that we have. I mean, Pennsylvania has a high, what do you call it, inheritance tax. It's just ridiculous. My parents work so hard for something. When they want to leave me something, we've got to pay taxes on something that we've already paid, and the same goes with everyone else in this state. That's just preposterous what's going on. We need to change things and make things better and make Pennsylvania more friendly for the people in the community and people that need help.
But in terms of gun safety, are there gun safety laws that you might be in favor of, or?
There's no way anybody's going to take my guns.
I didn't say take your guns. I'm talking gun safety.
And what would you like to do about gun safety? As far as what?
That's what I'm asking you, though.
A gun isn't a problem.
Okay.
A gun is a tool, just like a hammer,
okay,
a screwdriver, a knife, a rock. Mm-hmm. Cain killed Abel with a rock.
Yep.
This is just a different tool. It wasn't the rock's fault. It wouldn't be the knife's fault. It wouldn't be the screwdriver. Why should it be the gun?
Okay. Berks County is 50% agricultural. We know growing seasons have changed. So far this summer, Pennsylvania has been spared the massive destruction of wildfires and floods occurring in other states. But storms are more destructive, and we have drought. Should Pennsylvania do more to protect our economy by doing more to prevent climate change? What actions do you think the legislature should or shouldn't take?
What's happening with the different climate change, I believe, now this is my opinion, I might be wrong on it, I could be right on it, but as we have air that travels across our land, and now we take and develop land, or we take these landfills, and we have a flat piece of ground with a landfill, and now we're filling it and filling it and filling it and making a mountain out of it, and then sooner or later we start building on it something. That's changing the airflow across the earth, and that is what I think would probably be affecting the different types of weather that we're having, whether it be extreme or less extreme on the different plains. So what you can do about it, it's hard to say. If you look at the water level at Plymouth Rock, okay, Plymouth Rock, the water level at Plymouth Rock is the same as it was back when it was first taken back in the 1800s. It hasn't changed, not a centimeter. Okay. So climate change isn't as extreme as what people are saying it is.
The 2022-2023 budget contains large increases for education funding. but it's a one-year thing. We have 500 school districts in Pennsylvania, most of which rely heavily on the property tax because the legislature hasn't agreed to a long-range plan for school funding. And we have charter schools that pull $2.6 billion from the public schools budgets. Some say Pennsylvania's charter school law doesn't provide the transparency and accountability that is required of our public schools. Two questions. What is your view on how Pennsylvania funds both public schools and charter schools? And secondly, do we need charter school reform?
I think we need the entire school reform. School property taxes have been a burden for, I couldn't tell you how many years. We only started school property taxes back in the 60s, and the state legislature is the one that made that happen. We need to look at another way of funding our education. The school property tax burden on everyone in Pennsylvania should be eliminated. I'm in favor of probably putting, how do you say it, more of a sales tax in place than school properties. I would be more than happy to pay $1.07 or $1.08 versus $1.06 than paying the school property taxes on one huge lump sum. There's people that don't even have kids in school or have even ever had kids that have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars every year to a school district who no one has any control over, that just keep raising taxes. Governor Mifflin, I'll just use that because it's where I'm from. The last election that the school board had, the night before the election, they raised the school tax. That way nobody would find out about it. And that's just totally wrong, to do that the night before the election and then get reelected into a position. I would be more in favor of a sales tax for everyone to make things more equal, and then probably somehow fund the money through the kids and give more of a school choice on where they go. In the lower states, down below in South Carolina, Florida, areas like that, they have a county-wide school system. So it's more fair for the children going to school, and it costs less because you don't have all of these superintendents getting paid a lot of money and a lot more costs. And then there's more buying power for the school supplies, so you get the school supplies cheaper. And that's where I'd be looking into, eliminating the school property tax and funding schools a different way and changing the way our kids are taught in school. When I went to school, we had trades. 7th grade was graphic arts, then wood shop, then metal shop. And that's where I learned to weld. Mm-hmm. It's where I learned how to work with wood, and we need to get back to that stuff.
Okay, very good. Pennsylvania is one of 9 states with closed primary elections. The primary is the spring election when the main parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, choose their candidates. And unless there happens to be a nonpartisan question on the ballot, only Democrats and Republicans can vote. Some states have open primaries where all voters choose candidates. Research has shown that states with open primaries have more moderate or centrist candidates, while states with closed primaries have candidates who are more radical to the left or the right. Should Pennsylvania change how we run our primary elections? Please tell us why you feel that way.
Well, what you're telling me is the states that have open primaries have more moderate, evenly candidates on there. I haven't heard that. I will have to look into that. But as you said in the beginning, Pennsylvania has elections to choose the Democrat candidate, to choose the Republican candidate. So why would you want to have an open party, an independent or libertarian or whatever, choose a Democrat or choose a Republican? You're choosing your best Democrat, you're choosing your best Republican to go against each other. The independents, they're automatically in. If they're going to run, now we have 3 to choose from in November if somebody is going to run as an independent. So I still think they should be closed, but I think we want to look into that.
Okay. Compared to other states, Pennsylvania has rather weak laws on campaign finance limits and enforcement, and there are loopholes in the disclosure laws that apply to lobbyists. Lawmakers aren't banned from taking gifts. Do you feel these laws need to be strengthened, or are Pennsylvania laws fine with Pennsylvanians, for Pennsylvania?
Some of the laws that you're talking about need to be enhanced. Some of the laws need to be lessened. As far as what we do under our campaign financing, it's so hard to find somebody that wants to be a treasurer of your PAC for your campaign, because at $10, if somebody donates you $10, you don't have to do anything. But if somebody donates you $50 and 1 cent, now you need a name and an address. And then you move on from there to the point where you need their name, their address, their occupation, and on from there, now we need to know, well, how much money do they make and all this stuff. Nobody wants to give money for campaign when you have to drag out all this information about someone. And I think part of the campaign reporting is a little ridiculous. Now, as far as once you're in office and you're getting contributions, we have to look at what that is. I mean, you're a mayor, okay? I'm going to give you a car. Why? Why did he give him that car? Mm-hmm. That ain't right. Mm-hmm. Okay, he's buying him. He's paying him off. That ain't the kind of stuff that we need to have happen. Small, minute, little trinkets aren't a big deal.
Right.
They're no big deal. But big stuff is.
Okay. Pennsylvania's election law is out of date. In the past 3 years, there have been hastily made legislative changes that didn't work out the way some legislators thought they would. We've had disagreements and court suits on how these hastily written laws should be interpreted. We've lost election officials because the job became so stressful due to constant changes. Certainly, there's a more reasonable way to bring our election code up to date. What kind of changes, if any, would you like to see in our election code?
Well, for a long time, I've been asking the Berks County Election Board to purge their system. They haven't purged the voting system. I couldn't tell you when. There's people on there that have passed away 10 years ago. There's people on there that have moved. There's people on there that do not exist. One thing, the system needs to be purged. The next thing is the voting machines have Windows 10 in them. Almost anybody with a brain that is good with computers can hack into a Windows 10 system. The voting machines are not secure. We need to have a system where we have a backup plan, a paper ballot. Simple as that. That way we have two to work off of. The mail-ins, they're just wrong. An absentee ballot was fine for that. They were secure. Now we have the mail-ins where you're letting somebody go to a ballot box and pop in whatever amount of ballots they want. And they ain't even their own. How can you have a secure election? I don't care who wins. I just want to have a secure election and that everyone knows our elections are fair. They failed with the mail-ins.
Founding Father Alexander Hamilton fought for and set up the Federal Reserve Bank to set up monetary policy. It is not in the Constitution, but it is a driving force in handling inflation. Inflation is not a problem the Pennsylvania legislature can solve, so we didn't ask you how you would solve it. That said, should the legislature consider the inflationary or deflationary aspects of every bill it considers?
Over in Kenhurst, as a councilman, we have a little bit of extra built into our budget every year, and we try and stick to it. The same way when I was on Reading City Council, our budgets were planned and executed well. I don't think we ever went over. I've never raised taxes either in the city or in Kenhurst. So you just need to have a good plan, stick to it, and not divert funding from one place to another.
Okay. We have about a minute left. Would you like to make a closing statement?
Sure. Okay. Again, thank you to the League of Women Voters for the opportunity to be here. Are you like me, Tired of the inflation costs of gas, food, clothing, utilities, and so much more, continuing to rise out of control, let alone the costs of government and your tax dollars being wasted, plus being used improperly? The time to stand is now. I ask you this. The rate of crime in the city has skyrocketed, out of control. And you as well as I see the number of shootings that are increasing at an alarming rate. Do you want to help fighting, or are you just going to continue to let our now leaders get away with doing nothing? I'm a former City of Reading councilman and now a current Kenhurst councilman that knows the whole district well. I care what happens in our city and our suburbs. We were great at one time. I can make that happen again, but I need your help. Vote Vince Gagliardo on November 8th. Help me to help you.
Thank you, Mr. Gagliardo, for sharing your views with us. Viewers, please remember there are two candidates for the 127th Pennsylvania Senate District, Manny Guzman and Vince Gagliardo. You can see both interviews on BCTV's website or YouTube page. To check your voting status, go to vote.pa.gov. You can register, change your party, locate your polling place, or apply for an absentee or mail-in ballot. The deadline to register is October 24th. The deadline to apply for a mail-in ballot is November 1st. Please do both prior to the deadline. Don't wait for the deadline. Then check the League's online voter's guide, vote411.org. It's on the screen there, to confirm your new voting district and get more information on the candidates. Or contact Berks County Election Services, elections@countyofberks.com or 610-478-6490. Thank you for watching Candidates Up Front. I'm Bill Litvin. Good day.